This is the end. Hold your breath and count to 10. Do you guys get it? I hope at least some of you guys got that. That's kind of why I named it this. Because remember a few live streams back, I had "This is the end." Well, I kind of a Skyfall reference. Not everybody's gonna get it, but I just kind of want to be a little whimsical tonight. So hope everybody's doing really, really well. I am feeling much better. I've actually had my humidifier on for the last day or so, and I'm actually able to breathe easier. And even my little dry skin has cleared up. No, I'm not trying to give you guys the finger. I'm just going to show you it's kind of getting better. My skin's a little flaky on the pinky finger. I think a few more days, it should be fine. Wow, I got a lot of people here. Mr. Jimmy, Flips May, Chris Bartlett, and William McCullough. Wow, hello, everybody. Well, I'll give you guys a little status update on the PT Cruiser. I know I'm going to be probably talking about that a few times here. Somebody inevitably is going to come in the next few minutes and say, "Huh, what do you say about the PT Cruiser?" Well, we've gotten the two taillights on. That was a chore in itself, and I'll tell you why. I'll probably do another video about this when I actually show the PT Cruiser. We've ordered two sets of taillights from eBay. Of course, one driver side, one passenger side. And the way they hold on is there are two clips, one on the top right and one on the bottom left. And basically those clips attach to a very thin piece of metal on the side of the actual opening where the taillights go. And unfortunately, the clips were not designed right. I know, right? Cheap Chinese plastic, and you can fill in the rest. Well, we had the hardest time getting the actual clip that was on the left side to stay on. Every time we got that in and put the right clip on, when we went to push it in all the way, and then there's a little screw on the bottom, we went to screw that in, the clip on the left would actually pop in. So we spent about 15-20 minutes on each side. What we wound up having to do on the driver's side, we actually got that in just fine. The driver's side taillight, after finagling around with it for a little bit, that went in fine. Passenger side could not get that left clip to stay. So what we finally did is we took a pair of pliers and we bent the metal out just a little bit on the surround, and that was enough for that clip to finally stay in place. So the taillights are on. Again, that was a chore. I was going to consider filming it, but you guys wouldn't have wanted to sit there and see me film for half an hour trying to struggle with this. Heck, maybe you would have, but I wasn't going to do it. Sorry. Other than that, really nothing else we've done. We're still working on the passenger rear door. All the other doors are functioning properly except for that one. That door still will not open. And what we believe has happened is the person who owned it before had never used that door. And actually what's happened is the lock has rusted shut. So we pretty much doused that lock. We took the inner door panel off, which was a chore in itself. We had to take the rear seats out to do that. We've actually doused that lock with almost a whole can of WD-40, and we're working it back and forth, the bar, to try to get it to free up. Hopefully, over the next day or two, the penetrating fluid will get in there and free up that lock, and we'll finally be able to open that door. Once that's done, the rest of it is in Dillinger's hands. We got to bring it there and have everything else done, but I am not going to do that probably until the middle of December, maybe even the beginning of January. We'll just have to see how time and finances allow. George Blankley said, saw two PT Cruisers walking out today, a red one and a silver one. Well, you know, I have a silver one, and from what I understand, the two most popular colors for them were silver and red. My first one was kind of like a ash blue, or like a I don't know what you would call it, like a muted blue, which was kind of unusual apparently for them. Well, thank you. Mr. Jimmy's trying to get me to 6,000 subs, and I think we're going to get there. We're pretty close now. Within, I think, 50 or 60 subscribers. At least that's what my calculator is showing. Interesting. He says you can use a motorcycle light on a Mercedes-Benz 300D. They'll fit it perfectly. Yeah, I mean, anything to save money because Mercedes-Benz parts are expensive. I mean, you can get them online, but you're still paying a premium because it's a Mercedes-Benz. Chris Bartlett's back. It was reloading. Well, at least you're back now. Let's see who else do we got here. We got 24 watchers. That's awesome. Anything else happening today? I know somebody's going to ask this. Well, we did go out to lunch, and it's funny because I'm gonna talk a little bit about fitness. So I'm sure we'll lose a few people there. But now that I've gotten down to my goal weight, 238 now, I actually wound up losing a couple more pounds. I'm able to eat a little bit more now, and we've actually been eating out the past week. We've ate out like 2 or 3 days. And today I went to Olive Garden. And believe it or not, you can still be good and eat at Olive Garden. I actually had the ravioli di portobello, which is the ravioli that's stuffed with the mushrooms. I had 2 bowls of the Toscana soup, the zuppa Toscana, which is one of my favorites. I had three of the breadsticks, and I had a piece of cheesecake for dessert. We figured that was about 2,500 calories for all that. And then I had a breakfast, which is about 500 calories. So I actually had 3,000 calories today. And that's good. That's actually what I need to ingest. So basically what I've done, I haven't eaten anything else tonight, and I won't until tomorrow, except for a few of these Altoid mints. So if you want to know how to keep the pounds off and actually lose weight, this intermittent fasting has done wonders for me. Basically, start eating around 8 or 9 in the morning when I get up. Just depends on when I get up and have breakfast, but usually between 8 or 9. But my last meal around 3 or 4, sometimes earlier, like today I had that big meal at Olive Garden. My last meal was actually at 12:30, and I'm not going to eat again until 9 a.m. Now, it's going to be hard to do this initially, but believe me, after the first week or two, you should be fine. Your body, you won't even miss eating at night. Your body won't even have the want to put anything in your mouth, and it's amazing. It really is. Phillips May says, new Chryslers are crap. They are made by Fiat. I agree. Yeah, the newer ones are total garbage. Luckily, both of mine were made before the Fiat merger. I think it was officially like in 2010, 2011, but both of mine were actually produced before they made that merger. Daniel Baker, are you a diehard Chrysler fan? I noticed all your Chrysler products, and I just wondered why you like them so much. I actually don't. To be brutally honest with you, my least favorite car company is Mopar. In other words, Chrysler and Dodge. I know, right? It doesn't make sense. The only reason I have these 2 vehicles, number one, the Chrysler Town and Country was the best van I could afford at the time. And I don't regret it. It's a great van. And number 2, the reason I got the PT Cruiser is because when I'm doing the delivery driving, which I'm going to be doing, it was basically the best vehicle size-wise versus the gas mileage. But if I was looking for a vehicle just to have fun with and I wasn't taking into account any utilitarian purposes, I would not choose a Chrysler at all. I would probably go with probably a Ford, actually. I like the Ford Fusions. I really have always wanted a Ford Expedition. That would be my dream vehicle, but unfortunately, that's a lot of my price range right now. Yep, Flips May likes Hondas and Toyota. I will not buy a foreign-made vehicle because I can't get it fixed cheaply here because my dad doesn't know how to work on it. And at least with American vehicles, he and I can work on it together. But the foreign vehicles, especially the newer ones, he doesn't have any tools to work on them. Eric Brunhammer said he's a GM guy, but he does like the Ford Fusion. Yeah, the Ford Fusion is kind of a weird one. It's like they came out with the Ford 500, which kind of was like a fancier version of the Taurus, and that only lasted a year or so. And then they went back to the Taurus, and then they added the Ford Fusion, which is kind of like the little bit smaller, cheaper model of the Taurus. At least that's the way it was post 2010. They had a weird one, like the Ford Taurus in 2008 was just like the Ford 500. And then in 2009, they didn't even have the Taurus at all. And then in 2010, they had that whole redesign when the Taurus got really expensive. And it still is to this day. I mean, to buy a new Taurus, it's like 25, 30 grand. I don't know about you, but I don't have that kind of cash lying around. And even if I did, I wouldn't spend it on a brand new Ford Taurus. Robert Jones says he loves the old school Chryslers. I mean, they're okay. I was never a big K car fan either. I just never been a Chrysler fan in general. I think that they've had their issues in the past. Do I think they have some good vehicles? Yes. I really like, again, I love my town and country, and I'm hoping the PT Cruiser is going to wind up being a good vehicle. I believe it is. We're in the home stretch with that thing. Flips May says, I went to a Honda dealership and tested the new Accord. It has terrible seats and looks extremely cheap on the inside, but the engine is fantastic. Yeah, the engine's good, but the new transmissions are terrible, especially if it has a new CVT transmission. They're constantly variable, whatever it stands for. Basically, it doesn't actually have gears. It's just one solid gear, and it goes from like 5 miles an hour up to its top speed. You don't even feel the thing shift. They're very weak. If you watch Scotty Kilmer's channel, he'll verify that. And I've seen people that have had issues with those transmissions. Have you ever owned a scooter or motorbike? The closest thing I've ever had to one, I had a quad, a four-wheel ATV, but I've never had a motorized two-wheeled vehicle of my own. I have bicycles. I love my BMX style bicycles. Had a couple of those when I was younger. Now I have the mountain bikes because around here we like to bike off-road, and the BMX bikes just weren't holding up. Interesting. Tyler says, I see my Mercedes-Benz says made by Chrysler by Daimler. I'll have to look that one up. To the best of my knowledge, Chrysler had nothing to do with Mercedes, but then again, they've had weird things like that in the past. A lot of the new Buicks are actually made by the car company Opel, which is like a German, or I think it was a German car company. They got a lot of weird things like that. And another thing that a lot of people don't know is that Mazda is Ford. If you own a Mazda, you pretty much own a Ford. As a matter of fact, the Mazda B3000 series trucks are just rebadged Ford Rangers. Very interesting, Tyler. I'll have to look that one up. Again, I was unaware that Chrysler had anything to do with Mercedes-Benz. Daniel Baker said, Mercedes-Benz bought Chrysler a while back. It was Daimler Chrysler Corporation. The Chrysler Crossfire is the same as a Mercedes SL Roadster. You know, I'll take your word for that. I know a decent amount about cars, but when it comes to history of who bought who, I don't know everything. I'll be the first one to admit that. If I don't know something, I'm not going to try to BS you guys with information that might be false. I'll just come straight out and tell you I don't know. Flips May, the 2018 Toyota Camry is fantastic compared to the Honda Accord, but Honda generators are fantastic. Yeah, a lot of people around here have the Honda generators. We have a Troy built one, I think. It does all right. It starts and it works. That's about all I could say for it. Camrys have always been very reliable cars. My favorite ones were the 96, 97 to like 2001 Camrys, where they had the really skinny rear taillights. I just really liked that design, and they were known to be extremely reliable. No, Robert, I haven't looked up muscle confusion. I'll try to do that. It's just been crazy around here lately, and we are definitely leaving Monday for New York. So hey, maybe they'll give me something to do on the way up if I'm not driving the whole way. Interesting. Eric said they are rebadge Rangers, but the bed sides are different to the point that you can't put Ranger taillights in a Mazda B series. They do that kind of stuff all the time, and they do it on purpose because the parts people need to be able to make a profit, and they don't want people going. Like, let's say you had one of those B series Mazda trucks. They don't want the people to be able to go to a Ford dealership and buy parts from them. The Mazda people need to make their money. So if you're buying a Mazda vehicle, they want you to go to a Mazda dealership for parts. That's typical. I mean, that's what they got to do to make money. Tyler says Mercedes-Benz has 231,000, runs good, and we got 6 inches of snow. That's all-wheel drive. That all-wheel drive is so nice. Love it. Yeah, if I lived out where you are, Tyler, I would absolutely have either an all-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive. Around here, it's not that important. Actually, my 2010 Chrysler Town Country is just a front-wheel drive model. With the new tires, that thing is phenomenal in snow and ice. And I could tell you that because even though I didn't have these particular tires last year, the ones I got are the same as the old tires. And those old tires were fantastic. So I can imagine that these being brand new, having 100% tread life will only be that much better. James King, have you ever been in a car accident? I've actually been in 3 car accidents in my life. 2 while I was driving, and 1 was actually in a school bus. When I was very young, we lived in New York, and the bus was going over a little causeway. It was a very old bridge, and right at the end of the bridge, there was a very sharp left-hand turn, and it had just started raining, and a car was going around the curb too quickly, lost traction, and the car actually skidded in front of the bus. Our bus actually went over the hood of the car and then crashed down. It actually went, the front tires went over it, and so did the rear tires. And when the rear tires went over the front of that car, they actually twisted and broke off. So it actually broke the axle, the rear axle of the bus. The people in the car, the person in the car, thank God, was all right. I mean, the front of this car had nothing left. The bus had gone over it, and it was so heavy, it actually smushed the engine down to about that high. It looked like an engine pancake. I was okay. It did break my glasses. I got a slight concussion, had to go to the hospital, but I was okay, thank God. Nobody was seriously hurt. The worst injuries were 2 girls in the front. Actually had a few broken ribs, but they were okay too after a few days in the hospital. And then the other 2 were just ones when I was here. One, I was merging onto a highway, and I merged into the first lane, and I signaled and started going into the fast lane, but the person that was behind me in the slow lane slid in before me, and we scraped, and that wasn't even reported. That was just like, it was just a few scrapes. I was able to clean mine off with just some brake cleaner, and the paint was fine. And then the third one was an accident I got into in the tunnel. My brakes locked up because, again, it just started raining, and I slammed into the back of a what was that? One of those Mercury SUVs, the Mariner, I think Mercury Mariner or something like that. Seth Brakefield, we got 9 inches of snow here. Depends on where you are. I know that up where my aunt lives, outside of Endicott, New York, they got about that 8 or 9 inches. Flips May said the Ford Flex is nice. Yeah, the Ford Flex is an interesting one. And actually, I saw one of those for sale locally. I think it was like a 2006 or 7. Really cheap. All it needed was it was like $500-600, and I think all it needed was the water pump replaced. But I wasn't willing to do it. It just was a little too much work. That's great. You've never Flips May says never been in a car crash. I hope I never have to deal with it. Hope you're never in one because it's not fun. It's really, really scary. Even now, I'm not a big fan of driving. I have to drive to get places, and yeah, if I have a really cool vehicle like my little PT Cruiser to drive around, that's fine. But just driving for fun, never a big thing for me. 20 watchers and 12 likes. That's awesome. I think we had 25 watchers before. Robert Jones said, Matt, I had a 95 GMC Sonoma, basically the same thing as the Chevy Silverado, I think. Yeah. Isn't it? I got to look that up. But anyway, it was in 6 up front and 5 in the rear until it was totaled in 2005. I kid you not. I have no idea what you mean by that, honestly. But yeah, I mean, they're good vehicles, I guess. Have I ever gone skydiving or bungee jumping? No. I've wanted to go skydiving, but maybe I'm a little too much of a chicken. You know what? I would do it. I would do it. If I had the extra money lying around to where I could charter a jet or a plane to take me up, I probably would. Oh, I got you. Now I get it, Robert. That's funny. Yeah, that's real funny. Someone had told me that the late 80s to mid 90s GMC Chevy trucks, the Chevy Silverados, GMC Sonomas, all of them were some of the most reliable vehicles on the road. And then, later years, they started putting a lot more plastic on them. You got the rubber and the plastic body panels, and they just don't hold up over time. They crack, they rot, and they start falling off, literally. Eric said, I can't talk about that accident without explaining why I'll always be a Christian. I'm sure because God saved you. It happened to me. I was too young to think to do it at the time, but after the accident with the bus, which was the worst one that I was ever in, I should have started praying. Nick Roberts wants a monster truck. What is it? Boat, bust out another 1,000. Probably in that case, bust out about 30,000 minimum. Oh my goodness. Let me take a sip of water here. 18 watchers, 13 likes. Cool. I missed that comment, Eric. I don't know what happened to that. You can tell your story if you want. I don't mind. I had a hard time getting this live stream to initiate. At least give you guys the warning, because you guys tell me you want me to give you a lot of notice before the live stream. So in the mornings, I try to set it up, and you guys should see it in your notifications at least by 10 or 11. For some reason this morning, it just did not want to show up. I think YouTube must have been doing an update or something. It feels really nice tonight. It's probably about 45, 50 outside, and we have the heat set to about 69, 70, and it's perfect temperature for me. I actually finally started wearing pants pretty much all year long. I wear it when I sleep at night. My pajamas, I used to wear sleeping shorts. I just wear these cheap cotton shorts like the Hanes ones, and they just were not sufficient. Now that I've lost weight, I'm actually getting very cold. So I was in our local discount store, Rose's, the other day, and I was looking around, and I came across these. These are basically the equivalent of my sleeping shorts, but they're actually pants. They're not that thick, but they're about 20% polyester, so they don't breathe as much as cotton, and they're perfect for this time of year. I bought 3 pairs. I got the gray, dark blue, like a royal blue, and then just a black pair. So we'll go with everything. Stephen Barber, at work, we have web filtering on our network thanks to me, so some videos won't show up due to that. So I have to log in with administrative rights to get the full videos. Well, that's a good thing because you don't want people watching all videos all day long. I mean, they won't do their work. I mean, that's a good thing, definitely. If I was an administrator, I'd probably do the exact same thing. Chris Barlow says, when I lost 20 kilograms, my underpants fall down because I lost weight. That's also a good thing. Don't ever stop losing weight because you don't want to have to buy new clothes. It's much more important to stay healthy. Worst case scenario, if you got to go out and buy clothes, heck, go to a thrift store, go to a charity shop, go to a church rummage sale. You can always find clothes. But and I've seen that excuse so many times. People be like, yeah, I really want to lose another 10 or 12 pounds, but I don't want to have to buy a whole new wardrobe. So I think I'm just going to stay here and maintain. And I'm like, why? Clothes are cheap. You do not have to go out and buy designer brand clothes. If you need a new wardrobe because you've lost weight, great. That's phenomenal. Go to a thrift store, go to a charity shop, buy them secondhand. That's what I'll do. I mean, heck, your health is more important. I'm not going to read that out, Eric. Just you guys can read what Eric said about the accident. I'm sure I won't do it justice, but yeah, I mean, it's amazing. You know, there are so many times in our lives that we need to thank God or whoever your higher power is, because I'm telling you, without that, sometimes we don't have hope for the future. And that's all we have is hope. You know, hope that tomorrow will be better than today, and hope the day after tomorrow will be better than tomorrow. Chris Barlow says, all my clothes except that I get secondhand clothes. Yeah, nothing wrong with secondhand clothes for sure. Yes, I absolutely agree with you. There are a few things I will not buy secondhand, and that is undergarments. So we're talking underwear, t-shirts, socks, something that's touching me that close. No, those I buy new, but general clothes, jackets, pants, shirts, slacks, sweats, all those kind of things, I'm okay buying secondhand. Interesting. Nick Roberts says the Kmarts are cheaper there than the secondhand shops. I wouldn't doubt it. A lot of areas, the secondhand shops can be very high priced. What you have to do is you have to look for the ones that are kind of out of the way, the small mom and pop thrift stores. Those are the ones you're going to get the best deals at. A lot of the chain ones like Goodwill, CHKD in my area, Savers, believe it or not, they are, even though they do support charities, they are a for-profit entity. So they have to make a certain amount of money. And you can read that. If you ask them, they legally have to give you an explanation of how much of it goes to charity and how much they keep. And it's usually like a 60-40 split. And it's not the split like you would think. 60% is what they get to keep, and the other 40% is what goes to the charity. It's really sad, but true. Robert Jones, Matt, do you have to use software sometimes to get past passwords? Yes, I do. And the best ones I found are on the Universal Boot Disk, or the Ultimate Boot Disk, it's called now. You can download that for free. I'll send you guys the link real quick. There's the link for it. And I usually boot it up in their version of Linux. And there's a lot of different password removal tools in there. Too many to count. And if one doesn't work, you can just try another one. Eric Brunhammer says, if I need a stupid good deal, I will hit up Foreman Mills. They they often have T-shirts as cheap as $1.99. That's a great deal. The cheapest place for clothes in my area, other than the thrift stores, is either Rose's or Gabe's. And Gabe's is kind of a regional discount store. I think they're only in the headquartered in North Carolina, but I think they're only like in South Carolina, North Carolina, and they're just starting to come into Virginia. And what they do, just like Rose's, they sell brand new discounted clothes that are seconds or irregulars. So you do have to look closely to make sure that you're okay with the way the clothes are. But 9 times out of 10, it's usually just like a stitch somewhere that's off, and you'll never be able to notice it anyway. And I have no problem buying seconds or irregulars. I do that all the time. As a matter of fact, I think technically these pants that I'm wearing right now, these sleeping pants, are irregulars. And I honestly can't see any problems with them at all. It could be that the dye color was off. Like maybe this was towards the end of the batch where the dye had gotten weak and the color wasn't exactly right and it didn't pass the inspection stage. It could be something as simple as that, and you save yourself a lot of money in the process. Flips May says, at the hard drive recovery company that I work at, we have a customer send in a laptop with a password. The password hit was Bangle. We asked the customer what the password was. He said bagel. Oh, I got it. It looks like bagel. And he asked what the password was. Cream cheese. That's funny. So the hit was bagel, and the actual password was cream cheese. I guess that makes sense. I mean, it could have been lox. You know, bagels and lox are good too. It's hard to read. The reason I get confused is on the background here, sometimes A's look like E's. It's really weird. I need to see if there's a way to change that setting, because the black on white background is actually really hard to see sometimes. A lot of Kmart's are closing. Yeah, in our area, I think we maybe have one left in Virginia Beach, and that's about it. They're all going out. And same thing with Sears. It's very sad, actually. And you can watch some of my other videos, and I've explained why I think Sears has gone out. And I've watched videos in length by people like Sal. Who was the other one? What was it? I hate it when my mind goes blank. But the ones that review the dead and dying malls, and when they go into the Sears, they actually explain why they're dying. And a lot of it had to do with poor management and not adopting the internet early on. Same thing that happened with Radio Shack too. Chris Barlow says, you might need reading glasses. I use different from the normal glasses. Possibly. What I actually should do is just take them off, because I actually don't need glasses to read at all. I just need them for distance. So might try taking them off, but it takes a while when you take your glasses off for your eyes to readjust to any form of distance or close-up. Stephen Barber says, when I do a password hit, I always saying a special place of this computer to keep them from guessing. Okay, yeah, something that is easy for you to remember, but hard for someone else to guess. I've done that before, definitely. Yeah, I need to go back and look into getting some glasses. This is my only pair right now. My other one's broke, but I don't have vision coverage, so It's really expensive. I'll probably wait till next year. These should get me through at least another year. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Where we at? 34 minutes. We're back up to 22 watchers. That's awesome. I'm so glad that you guys enjoy these live streams. It gives us a chance to talk. And yeah, I like doing the vlogs, and I will keep doing those. But at the end of the day, it's not interactive. I can't actually physically talk to you guys. Eric said, I think the Kmart was on the same road as the campground I stayed at. Hey, middle of the night, if it was a 24-hour, you can go out and get your marshmallows and Hershey's chocolate bars and graham crackers and have some s'mores. Can't do it now. You have to go to the local Food Lion or heck, 7-Eleven. I was in 7-Eleven the other day, and right near the checkout, they had one of those cardboard little kiosk things, and they had s'mores kits, marshmallows, Hershey's, candy bars, and graham crackers. I need to do that again. That's what I'm going to treat myself. Once I get down a little bit more, I'm going to treat myself with a s'more. I love s'mores. Haven't had them in years, though. Walmart Vision Centers are good. We have tons of them. I might check them out. We'll see. I think I'm good for now, though. Yeah, glasses around here can be pretty expensive. We have things like America's Best, Vision Works is another one, and you can get cheap glasses like for $100 for two pairs. But the problem is you don't get the anti-glare coating, you don't get the transitions, and a lot of times you don't even get the anti-scratch. And that's stuff I really need because when I'm out walking, especially the transitions, because my lens will actually turn dark. Transitions actually is when you're out in the sun, your glasses turn into sunglasses, and then they go back when you go back inside. They become light again. Pradkins likes old country music. I like the old stuff too. It's the more modern stuff that I'm not really into. A local place around here, a general store on Fridays, they do bluegrass. Certain Fridays of the month, I think 2 Fridays out of the month, the other two they do like classic rock and roll. And I actually prefer the bluegrass when I go there. Robert Jones, Matt, do you have old computer manuals? I think I have some old Commodore ones in there. I have to go search through it. My closet, even though I cleaned it out over there, the shelves are still a mess. I need to take some time this spring probably and take care of that. We got 21 watchers, 14 likes. Nice. Ryan says, Matt, change your YouTube to dark mode. I wonder how you do that. I tell you guys, I don't know everything. Actually, you know what? I think I'm in dark mode right now. Probably need to change it to light mode is the problem. Man, I tell you, my knee is killing me. Working on the PT Cruiser today, I had to actually get on the ground and kneel down. Like I don't usually kneel on my knees for any length of time, and my left knee is really sore. And I know it's because of the muscle. All the walking we do, it aggravates the muscles, and I could feel on the side. It's actually like I'll show you guys. You have a muscle on your knee right here that attaches the knee and then goes down the leg. And this is the first thing that actually gets inflamed. I know this because my father was a massage therapist for a while. And what happens is when this gets inflamed, the only thing you can do is rest it. And you can also rub it a little bit. And basically, what happens is that increases the circulation. Oh, fix that. And in turn, makes it so you don't retain fluid, and that'll actually heal the muscle faster. Pradkin says, "I love my bluegrass." Yeah, it's interesting music. I don't I like it too at times. I can take it in small doses. There was something I wanted to share with you guys, but I don't remember what it was. See if I go to my news feed on Facebook or my Facebook feed. Hope you guys are getting a kick out of the old videos. I was going through some of my really old videos, and mainly the ones that were the most popular, and I'm reposting them on Facebook because a lot of you guys are more recent subscribers, and you probably never got a chance to see them. I'll do 2 a day if I can remember. What I'm doing, I'm going down the list, going from the most popular videos down, so you guys won't see a lot of garbage. Generally, my more popular videos were the better ones, though some of the real early videos, don't be surprised if you see them and they're kind of lacking in quality. Not necessarily video quality, but just me in general. I wasn't that good with YouTube in the early days. Justin Williams just got off work, is in time to catch me live. That's nice, and that's why I'm doing these a little bit later. Sometimes I'll do them at 7, sometimes I'll do them at 8. Hey, I might surprise you one day and do them at midnight or 1 p.m. We'll just have to see. Stephen Barber says, when you first got your 8700, you installed that card that didn't show the Dell BIOS screen. That was the GT640. The Dell BIOS screen, there is a setting in the BIOS to make the card work in a protection setting. Not sure if you saw the comment. Yes, I did. I never bothered doing that because I actually changed that card out after a few months and went with the one that was fully compatible. The reason is those old cards are not fully compatible with the newer BIOS, and I think you can get it to work, like he said, with the what do they call it, the protection mode. But I just never bothered doing it. I didn't care because I didn't have a need to go into the BIOS at that point. I knew if that was the case, I had to figure out something to do. And luckily, my R7 360 is fully compatible. Yes, Flips May says he remembers the old videos on the cassette tape hauls. Yeah, I need to share that one with the estate sale find. That was interesting. That was very interesting. I've never had another haul like that ever. I may not. I mean, cassette tapes are getting really hard to find now. Yeah, the homemade vegetable beef soup. I'd like more people to see that. I'm gonna share a link to this because this is one of the best.
Hey Google, how do you post?
Hey Google, make this soup for me. This is one of the best soups that I've ever made, and this is a very easy one to do. The homemade vegetable beef soup. Basically, you can use mixed vegetables. I throw in some summer squash, zucchini, and not only is it easy, it is absolutely delicious. It goes with everything. You could actually make this a meal. You know, they used to say Campbell's soup a meal in itself. This is definitely true of this soup. And the cool thing is, if you use less beef broth, you can make it heartier, almost like a stew, and you literally be your meal. And it's a huge money saver. So if you guys get a chance, click that link and watch the video on how to make it. And I think...
Hey Google, play How Do We...
I think I even put the recipe on there. Did I? I did not put the recipe on there, but if you guys message me, I'll go ahead and give it to you. But great, great, great food. Mark Covington asked, do you remember ever using Radio Shack's color computers, the Cocos, the 1, 2, or 3? I never did. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you mentioned that because somebody locally is selling a color computer. Let me see if it's still available. Vintage Tandy 128 color computer. This one is the Color Computer 3. Comes with manuals, printer, and other accessories. Looks like they have at least some software for it. I may have to check that out. He's asking $95. We'll see what happens if I have enough money to buy it. It would be would make for some interesting videos, that's for sure. Do I miss my old car? If you're referring to the town car, every day. I absolutely love that thing. I could kick myself in the head for actually selling that, and I gave that away. I think the dealer paid me like $1,500 in trade-in for that. I would gladly give $1,500 to get that car back if I could find it, but hindsight's always 2020. At the time, I was so excited about getting my Chrysler Town and Country that I was blinded. I just wanted to make it work, and to make it work, I had to trade that car in. Same here. All the Radio Shacks in our area are gone. Now, when I go up to my uncle's house, the town next to where he lives is called Whitney Point, and they do have a Radio Shack authorized dealer. Basically, it's a little town that has a True Value hardware store, a Radio Shack, all in one, and actually on the other end is a little grocery store. So I may have to go and check that out because sometimes they have clearance items there, and they have pretty good prices. Eric says, I've been trying to scroll through your videos, oldest, first trying to see if I can remember what was the first one I saw. It would have been somewhere in 2014, 2015. Oh, yeah, I've been doing videos steadily since 2011, so you probably missed quite a few of them, actually. Flips May says, my first car in the U.S. was a used 1980 Oldsmobile Delta 88. I regret selling that car. Yeah, those were good little vehicles. I mean, I say little. They were boats, actually. I think that one was one of the ones that was actually available with that crappy diesel engine that they made out of a Chevy 350. Hopefully yours was the gas version. Oh, yeah, those were gorgeous. Yeah, I kind of figured. Let's see. Yes, it was. The 1980 Oldsmobile Delta 88 Royale Brougham sedan had the optional 5.7-liter diesel V8. And those are the ones that were notorious for blowing head gaskets. And I know this because my dad had a 1981 Pontiac Bonneville with that engine. Great engine when it was running, but you could not keep the head gaskets intact to save your lives. And that was because they literally took a 350 block, modified it to run on diesel, and it was just a disaster. GM could, before the Duramax engines they used, GM did not have a good diesel engine. I don't care. Even those 6.4s back then were prone to having head gasket issues. Nick Roberts said the first video he saw was the Creative MP3 player that I picked up. I still have that. Believe it or not, I still have it. I hardly ever use it. I'm sure the battery I bought for it is dead. It's a cool little thing. I really should consider hooking it up to my main setup here, my main component setup here, because that would make a really cool little jukebox. That's really what it was designed for. Eric said the only thing he remembers it was a yard sale find with some Dell and custom-built systems on the white table. Yeah, I remember that one. That was, I think, 2014. And that describes how many of your videos. Yeah, right. And those are the most popular ones, too, are usually the garage sale finds. Caleb Nestor said, my grandma has a PT Cruiser too, same color as yours. She had for years. Last time let me see, with her a few years ago, had over 200K on it, 200,000 miles in it, and she's still driving it. I have a lot of people telling me that those go 200,000 plus miles. And that's what I'm banking on with this. Now, if for some reason it doesn't, I'm still hoping I get at least 15, 20,000 miles out of it and at least get the money back that I put into it. Wow, I got somebody spamming my Facebook Messenger here. I hate that. Nothing drives me more crazy when somebody sends me 5 messages at once. I mean, please send me one message, give me a chance to respond to it, and then send me another message. Unfortunately, those are just desperate people trying to get attention. Flips may ask, do you still have any of those cassettes from that video? You're talking about the estate sale haul? Yeah, I have a few left. I think they're the BASF tapes. I just don't know where they are right now. I've moved so many things around. They're around here somewhere. Yes, but I said I find GM motors were hit and miss in the 2000s. The 3100, 3400, 3500, 3800, 4300 series, all of them had head gasket issues as well. Maybe you did mean the 3900, because I think there was a 3900, but the 3800s were really reliable. I never heard of them having head gasket problems. 3.9, okay, yeah, you're more familiar with it than I am. The 3800 by far was their best motor. The ones that they put like in the Buick LeSabre, the Buick Park Avenue, they never had issues to the best of my knowledge. I need to get a sip here. I'm working on this. I haven't been drinking enough lately. I've had like it's taken me like 2 days to drink a gallon of water, and I need to bring that back down to a day. The more water you drink, usually the better you feel, because you're flushing out all the impurities in your body. Justin Williams, I have a 2005 Sierra 5.3 with 165,000 miles, and it's a great engine. That's the Vortec, I believe. Yeah, they're really good. They're prone to piston slap sometimes, but I mean, other than that, they'll last a long time. Ben here. Yeah, that's funny. I get that. Is your tap water bad there? Oh, absolutely. I don't drink anything but either filtered water or bottled water. Matter of fact, in our area, pregnant women are banned from drinking the tap water because it can cause problems. When you live near the ocean like we do, generally you have very poor quality water. Nick Roberts says, I drink so much water, just an annoying have to pee all the time. Yeah, that can be a side effect. Sorry, I had to readjust myself there. Yeah, but it's good for your body, I'm telling you. It's one of the best things you can do. The coffee and water diet. Try it. It works. Flips May says their tap water tastes like pure chlorine. I'd actually welcome that flavor. I don't even want to tell you what our tap water tastes like. It's almost indescribable. The only time I use it is if I need to rinse my mouth out because I don't have a cup available after brushing my teeth. And it just, not only does it have almost like a rotten egg, it's almost like a sulfur taste, but it also has that kind of smell like rotten eggs to it. It's just nasty. We used to have good water. Now, Charlie, I know where you live, and we used to live in a similar area. And yeah, if you live in the mountains up north, you'll have some great water. As a matter of fact, where we used to live in New York, our water was so good. I kind of used to make jokes saying, you know what, if we stayed here, I'd actually make my living bottling it and selling it because it was that good. We had a well that tapped into a natural spring, and the water was the purest, most delicious, fresh tasting you could ever imagine. And we were very lucky because a lot of times when you get those freshwater springs that come off the mountain, you kind of get that sulfur taste because of the minerals. But apparently, the rock formation that the spring came down that fed the well had just the perfect amount of minerals to have the most awesome tasting water you could imagine. I really miss it to this day. I-36 says, hey, guess what? I work in retail, Kroger, and I've worked there for 24 years. I'm off Wednesday for the first time in 24 years. I mean, the day before Thanksgiving. Yeah, retail is never fun. I've worked retail jobs a lot in my life. And not only do they a lot of times want you to work the day before Thanksgiving, sometimes they want you to work on Thanksgiving. And then, of course, Black Friday is a given. Well, enjoy your time off. Have some good food and good fellowship with your family. Mr. Jimmy says, after the stream, I'm going across the road to the beach for a walk. Excellent. Excellent. Definitely a good idea. And that reminds me, I'll give you guys a little fitness update tonight. I am at 22,305 steps, 11.62 miles, average of 3.4 miles per hour, and I burned 1,395.2 calories. So, not too bad for today. A little off my highs. Day before I did 23,000, day before 25. But I consider it a win if I do at least 20,000 steps a day. That's my goal now. Charlie asks, what are we doing for Thanksgiving? We are going up to my uncle's place up outside of Binghamton in Green. You guys have seen me film there before. And we're going to spend Thanksgiving with the family. It's going to be such a great time. And my aunt is actually bringing a fresh turkey. I've never had a fresh turkey before, and I'm really excited to try that. Might have to do a live stream to show you guys that if everybody up there is okay with it. I made a joke with her. I said, a fresh turkey, so are you getting it alive or dead? And she busted a gut laughing. And she's like, well, I don't really know. And then I started laughing. It was so funny. Robert Jones says, Matt, do you know if someone can lose weight just doing ab crunches? No, usually can't. And the reason being, when you do ab crunches, you're actually going to build up your ab muscles. And when you do that, muscle weighs more than fat. So even if you do the little bit of fat you'll lose there, you'll gain it in muscle and you officially won't gain weight. Now, your BMI might go down, which is a good thing. But if you're looking to actually see the pounds go off on the scale, you need to incorporate cardio. So walking, bike riding, on top of the strength training. Those two things combined are the really only sure way to see the pounds go off of the scale. Yes, yes, buy says, I don't think I can weigh too much more. Well, if your starting point, is your starting point, again, just figure out where you are now, figure out where you want to be, and make small incremental goals to get down there. That's what I did. When I started at about 340, 350 pounds, I said, okay, I'm going to make a goal getting down to 330 and then 310 and then 280. Actually, I should say it was 350, 320. Then it was 300, 280, 260, and now I'm down to 240. You see where I'm going with this? You make small incremental goals, and that'll make it a lot easier. Because if you think, oh my gosh, I got to lose 100 pounds, I'll never be able to do that, you're right, because it's going to make it seem insurmountable. So make small goals, meet those small goals, and you'll be successful. Just remember, you got to incorporate diet and exercise. So diet, exercise being strength training, and cardio. All right, tubers, I think we're going to end it here. My mouth is very dry. We're almost at an hour. We had 25 watchers, I think, at the most here, which is fine. That's good for me. Maybe one or two more things here. Yes, Bai says, I've restricted my meals 2 to 3 meals a day. That is, I mean, dead straight his weight loss September 4th, and he got 76 pounds gone so far. Yeah, you can do the 2 or 3 meals. That's fine. But if you really want to see him start going off quickly, try the intermittent fasting. Start eating a meal, but eat your meals between like 8 or 9 in the morning and 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and have your 3 meals there. It's going to seem like a lot of food, but that's fine. And then don't eat anything from 4 p.m. till the next day. And that intermittent fasting will actually increase your metabolism, and you will see the weight come off. It works. I mean, I'm living proof of that. All right, tubers, that is it for the live stream tonight. Hopefully we'll do one tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure. You will know tomorrow morning for sure, though. Please continue to like and subscribe. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.